The hidden truth behind Luka Doncic trade, unmasking Nico Harrison's true nature. At first glance, the Luka Doncic trade stunned many fans and analysts alike. But once you get to know Nico Harrison, Dallas's GM behind the scenes, the puzzle pieces suddenly fall into place. Harrison's relentless, often bewildering public explanations and questionable decisions start to make more sense when seen through his true character. Throughout his tenure, Harrison has delivered a barrage of confusing press conferences, confidently asserting he's done a really good job here, even as questions mount about his judgment. From his dismissive comments about the team's championship potential to a tone-deaf focus on star power, mentioning Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Anthony Davis, and Lively as if those names alone guarantee victory, it's clear he's out of touch with reality. Meanwhile, reporters digging a little deeper are uncovering a different story, one more revealing of Harrison's personality. ESPN's Tim McMahon, for instance, pulled back the curtain on how Harrison clashed with his own medical staff, firing longtime trainer Casey Smith via video call while Smith was tending to his sick mother. That move wasn't just cold. It symbolized Harrison's tendency to dismantle any support system that might threaten his authority. This behavior hints at something darker, a megalomaniac who sees enemies everywhere and believes trading Luka Doncic, the franchise's brightest star, was a necessity. All the quotes, all the contradictions, point toward a mindset where Harrison perceives Luka as a threat to his control, especially since Luka didn't come from a background that Harrison could easily dominate, like Nike. In Harrison's mind, stars are the true power in the NBA, and Luka's presence challenged his authority. Look at Casey Smith, a trusted figure within the Mavericks' inner circle. Instead of being an ally, he was seen as a potential rival, someone who could oppose Harrison's decisions. So, Harrison saw fit to remove him, claiming he was too negative, driven by fear of dissent. Until now, many of us couldn't explain the logic behind the trade. It seemed like a reckless gamble made in a bubble of conspiracy theories. But it's becoming clearer. The trade wasn't just about basketball moves or desperation. It was the result of one man's unchecked ego and obsession with power. When Mark Cuban was around, Harrison likely had some oversight. But after the new ownership group stepped in, Harrison painted himself as a hero, boasting about how well he was managing everything and convincing them they didn't need to question him. Cuban's stories of being kept out of major decisions, even after claiming control of basketball operations, show a clear gap. Harrison was increasingly operating in a vacuum, trusting no one. Yes, Harrison was managing some wins, trades for Irving, PJ Washington, Gafford, and drafting Lively. But those victories seem to have fed his delusion of infallibility. In truth, they may have emboldened him to shut out anyone who dared to challenge his authority. This internal culture of sycophants or a fantasy world where only Harrison's voice mattered created a dangerous environment. And at the heart of it all was a misguided belief that everything was about him, that removing any potential challengers was the key to survival. That's what ultimately led the Mavericks astray, making the team about Harrison rather than the players. Luka Doncic, the cornerstone of the franchise, became collateral damage in this game of power and ego. Harrison's biggest mistake isn't just trading Luka, it's believing that the fate of the team hinges on his own control. The truth is, it's always been about the players. When the focus shifts away from nurturing talent and empowering stars, hopeful basketball turns into chaos. So, why does the Luka trade now seem less baffling? Because it's less about basketball strategy and more about one man's struggle for dominance. Once you see Harrison's true colors, his insecurity, his desire for unquestioned authority, the trade makes perfect sense. It's a tragic reminder that in the NBA, the real power resides with the players, and the obsession to control everything else often destroys what actually matters.